thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the program today, I welcome in a master musician, master guitarist extraordinaire playing for rock bands such as Max Explosion, House of Lords, and Autograph. We welcome in the legendary Jimi Bell. Jimmy, Brian C., thanks so much for your time.
Brian, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, no problem. Jimmy, you're considered one of the monsters on the guitar. And for you at 13, you instantly fell in love with the guitar, right?
Yeah, I played a lot of other instruments. And it was funny. I was a drummer prior to that. And I was jamming with, I was in junior high. And I was jamming with some high school kids. And the guitar player happened to leave his guitar at my house and left it out of the case against the amp. And I just kind of picked it up after he left and turned it on and hit the old 70s Big Muff fuzz that he had. And I hit one low E string. I went, oh, my God, I love this. This is what I want to do. I don't want to play drums. And that literally changed my life right there.
Now, for you, you had two major influences that played a role in your career. One was Johnny Winter, and number two was Ritchie Blackmore of Deep Purple. What was it about these two giants that appealed to you?
Well, this is just, when I was first got into guitar, I was instantly drawn to people that had a lot of fast chops. Like, there were so many great guitar players, but it was the guys that had the fire on the guitar that really I gravitated to. And, Johnny Winter, even though he was a blues player and did play, some incredibly slow blues stuff, he had so much fire in his playing that he had a lot of fast chops that he did. So I grabbed that. And then I discovered Deep Purple. And then, that was instantly fell in love with what Ritchie Blackmore was doing. And I had one other person, jazz guitarist, Al Di Meola, who played with Chick Corea. And that's how I kind of developed my style. Those three guys are what I, took their incredible styles and kind of meshed them together to make what I have.
Interesting. 1982, Jimmy, talk a little bit about the band which you formed, Joined Forces. Was that a cover band? How did the band form?
Well, I went back and forth. I've tried so many different things in my career. I was living up in Canada. I had a producer that worked with Emerson, Lake and Palmer that was getting us a record deal with a band up in Montreal. And after waiting and waiting, after they said the deal was signed like 27 times, I came back down to the States, and these guys that were, in other popular cover bands were leaving that band, and they wanted to form a band, joining forces. And that's how the name came together, Join Forces. And it started off as a cover band. But when we reunited again a year after taking a break for a year, we were an all-original band. So we came out as the very first band in the Connecticut area, anyway, to do all original music without any covers. And
Wow.
then before you know it, we were picked up by Joan Jett's management. We had an in with Joan Jett, and that's started the ball rolling for a lot of other things.
Yeah, Joan Jett, a female pioneer in the rock industry. And I want to fast forward a little bit to 1986, where you shared the stage on the Michael J. Fox movie Light of Day. How did you land that appearance, and how important was that spotlight role for you?
Well, it all stemmed out with, once we got hooked up with Joan Jett's management, Joan was going out on an East Coast tour. So the partner who worked for Joan Jett happened to he was in partnership with a guy that owned a tour bus company. So here we go. We don't even have a record deal. We're out on a tour bus, and we're opening up for Joan Jett. I mean, we didn't make any money, about $10 a day, but we were kids. We had our own tour bus. It was a beautiful bus too. It wasn't like a lousy bus. So we were living the dream. Opening up for. And that's how it happened. We did a East Coast tour with her, and right as we were done, she got involved with the whole movie thing, and they needed a band for the slot. The band was going to be called the Huns, and it was going to be a band that she leaves Michael J. Fox's band to join this heavy metal band, the Huns, and that was us. So yeah, we had the part in the movie. I love Joan Jett dearly. I always have. She always treated me great, and she's a real sweetheart. And Michael J. Fox was incredibly nice.
Was he really?
Yeah, we sat and talked guitars like at lunch. We ate lunch together. Things like while we're on the back of the movie set. Being on a movie is a whole nother experience. I don't know if you've ever had know anybody else that's ever been one, but you're up at 4 a.m. and getting makeup done and everything. It's pretty wild. It was a great experience. Something I'm very blessed to have in my career.
So really that movie really launched you into the spotlight. You were a national figure being on the big screen.
Well, and the movie was really good. A lot of people had a hard time accepting it because it was, they liked Michael J. Fox when he was in Family Ties or Back to the Future, his comical roles. This was more the first time it was ever a serious role for him. People were kind of, a little taken by that. But overall, the movie was, wonderful. It had some great other co-stars in it. And it was a great experience. It was wonderful. I remember going to watch it in the movie theater with a bunch of people. And when the scene came on, we're all making, everybody, we're going nuts. It was fun.
Yeah, so that was 1986. And then 87, reading your career, let's see, you joined with a member of Black Sabbath, Geezer Butler, correct?
Well, first came the Ozzy audition.
Okay, yes. Which I have a question on that next, but go ahead.
Okay, so that's the order on how that happened. I was endorsed because with the whole Joan Jett thing, I had an endorsement with Kramer Guitars, which was the biggest guitar company in the 80s. Eddie Van Halen was their main guy.
Sure.
And so they decided they wanted to handle me personally, manage me and everything. So the whole thing with Ozzy came up. And I get a phone call one Wednesday, and they said, "Jimmy, you're going out to audition for Ozzy. Sharon Osbourne saw your tape, and she loves it. You have to go out there." Now, they already had been working with Zach, so I was kind of like an afterthought a little bit. But they had to have me come out. So I said, "Okay, when am I leaving? Next week?" They go, "No, today. Your plane is booked. Get to the airport now." So it was literally that fast. So I went and, first I had to play with Randy and Phil. That's how the auditions went. But Sharon Osbourne sat there while I played. And, she just wanted to see if what she saw on the videotape actually was the way that I played and whatever. And she loved it. Next day I was with Ozzy at a separate studio. So, I did 5 songs. And they sat down with me and they said, "Well, it's between you and Zach." So that's how that whole thing happened. And obviously, what happened. They decided, Zach looked a lot more like Randy Rhoads. He played the Les Paul and everything. It was one of those things too. And Zach, monster player. So the experience, that was a great experience, but it was also very, heartbreaking. It could have been a lot of different things that would have happened in my career because of it. But later on, Sharon must have really liked the way I played a lot because Geezer was forming another band and she handed my tape to him. And the next thing I know, I'm getting a call at my house from Geezer Butler. And I just didn't believe it. I didn't picture like the bass player from Black Sabbath calling my house, asking me to fly out to St. Louis where he had one of his homes. But yeah, so that's what happened.
So a question on Zach Wilde, Jimmy, if I may ask, do you hold any animosity towards Zach? Did you,
no,
or are you over that?
No. Actually, we're very good friends still. Yeah, we became good friends. Zach actually came to my hotel room. I'll never forget this because he was such a, he was always known as a real beer drinker party. He came to my hotel room and knocked on the door. I opened it up and there's a very young, clean shaved, not buffed Zach Wilde holding 2 Coca-Colas, and he wanted to jam with me. He wanted to see what I played like, so he brought in one of these little Rockman units, and we both had headphones. We plugged into it. I was really warmed up, so I was playing, and I think I freaked him out a little bit because I know for a fact that once he got the gig, he did a guitar clinic in California at a music store, and he said there was this one other guy named Jimi Bell who was auditioning, and he said after I heard him play, I didn't think I was going to get the gig.
Really?
Yeah, he said that, and I know he said it because a friend of mine happened to be at the clinic that he said it at, and Zach even mentioned me in a couple of his articles. I even have an article where he was talking about my picking hand and everything. Yeah, he's
and I have it here. And Jimmy, I have that quote here. It was 2018 Total Guitar Magazine. I'm paraphrasing. Zach states, guys like Jimi Bell, they barely lift their fingers, very little movement. Because of that, they execute their chops blazingly fast. So that's a big compliment.
Yeah, it was really nice of him to do that. I like I said, being with Ozzy could have definitely changed my career. Who knows though? It worked well for Zach, but for some people it didn't do. It's just one of those things. But I'm very blessed the way things are. I'm at my age. I'm so happy to be playing still.
Absolutely, a lot to get to. We have with us master guitarist Jimi Bell. Let's talk about Max Explosion, Jimmy. What's the deal on Max Explosion? How did it form? Go ahead.
Okay, well, Max Explosion was formed because of House of Lords. So House of Lords came first. I got a call from James Christian, the singer, who was from Connecticut, where I am. He was in a cover band many years ago called Eyes. And then later on, he went to California. That's when Gene Simmons discovered him. And, the rest of the story. They put together a House of Lords with Greg Giuffria and Chuck Wright and Ken Mary and Laney and us. And then they, had this incredible band. So in 2005, I get a call from James, and he says, I got another record deal from Frontiers, and we're putting a new House of Lords together. And he asked me if I'd be interested in playing, and have I ever written melodic rock songs before? And at that point, I really wanted to just get something rolling. And I just said yes. I really didn't know what a melodic rock song was, but I told him I know how to do it. But I quickly learned, and, I had a very, very successful career with House of Lords. And Max Explosion was formed because of House of Lords, because we would do a tour, say, go on tour for a month or maybe a month and a half in Europe. And then we'd come home and wouldn't tour again. And we'd start on another record. And then James would do solo records, it was all part of his contract. So the bass player, Chris McCarville, and BJ Zampa, who I got into House of Lords, we decided to put together a band while, we were on break. And that's how Max Explosion came about. As a matter of fact, BJ and Chris have been with Dokken now for a while, and they're playing their first gig today in Pennsylvania, back from COVID. So very happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Autograph is your current band.
Yes. And that was just a wonderful thing. I've been friends with Steve Lynch for quite a while. Met him many years ago when I was in Joint Forces, when I was endorsed with Kramer at a NAMM show. I performed there, and the original Autograph was going to perform shortly after us. And Steve really liked the tone of the amplifier on how I had it set. So someone was running around trying to find me backstage because Steve Lynch wanted to talk to me and set up the amp for him. So that's how him and I, became friends back then. And then the new Autograph with Simon and Mark and of course, Randy, the original member, were playing a gig. and Max Explosion opened for them at a little small theater here in Massachusetts. And I reconnected with Steve and Randy and met Simon and Mark. And from that point on, we became very good friends. At that point, in July of 2019, I believe it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I woke up, I happened to go on Facebook, and I saw that Steve made his official announcement that he was leaving the band. He, wanted to do something totally different. And so I got in touch with Randy right away because I really like the guys. I absolutely love them, and I think the band is great. And I said, Randy, I know you're getting probably 1,000 phone calls right now, but I'd really be interested in the gig. So he gave me some songs. They were going to fly me to LA. They gave me only 3 songs, but I ended up learning every single song they had. And it really helped that I do background vocals. So I was able to learn all the harmony parts that Simon gave me. We went back and forth with him on, with the vocals on FaceTime, working out the parts. So by the time I got to California, within the first song, they knew that they wanted me as their guitar player. It sounded like I had been playing with the band literally for years. That's how good the rehearsal went. The very first rehearsal, it was that good. So, the rest is, just wonderful.
Rest is history. And we have a little, we're going to play a little cut of one of your iconic solos. Let's hear it now.
Okay.
I mean, that's incredible stuff, Jimmy. You really make the guitar talk.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I know that whole segment right there was just a lot of blazing and stuff. But what I do is I in the middle section after that, I bring it down for I had other influences like Robin Trower came into my life later on. Where very Moody Hendrix type of vibes at a lot of things that he did. And so I try to, a lot of times I like to do that. I come out of the gate like in a shock mode, it's like, I don't build into it. I don't build into anything nice and slow. It's like, I go like, I want somebody to be sitting there not paying attention. I just want to smack them in the face right off the bat. That's kind of the way my mind is, runs, so, but yeah, I try to hit all different phases. A lot of people don't know I'm a big fan of country pickers. So I later on incorporated a lot of that into my playing. And that style is very cool for me to do, along with all the shredding and stuff, all the finger snapping and popping that the country players do. I really love that. So, I try to cover a few things, you know.
Right. And I want to ask you, so when you're soloing, is this riffs that you have memorized, that you have in your back pocket, or you just go out free will?
Most of the time, you know, when I practice a solo for like that, I'll come up with parts, you know. I'll say, well, I know I'm going to start this way, but everything, all the, and then then I'm going to go into this key, and then I got to go. So, you know, I start in G. I'm tuned down a whole step. So I start in G, and I know I'm going to riff around, go nuts, and then I'm going to make my way to C. So then I do a bunch of things to C, then I go up to a D. You know, so I know where I'm going to go. I kind of plan it out, but, you know, I change things in between. So some of the riffs are stock, but I know the key changes of where I'm going to go in the solo. But I do have a few stock riffs that I'm anything that you hear that I land on for quite a while, like in that first segment, you'll hear me doing this riff that's going, you know, a back and forth. That's like a planned out riff that I do all the time. A repetitive section.
It's really remarkable. Your guitar of preference. I know your idol Richie Blackmore was big on the Fender Stratocaster. Do you like the Stratocaster? I know you prefer SGs, Explorers, Les Pauls, correct?
Well, no, actually, well, yes. I'll tell you what's how everything is turned around. So much is turned around.
Right.
A Stratocaster is an amazing guitar. First off, what a lot of people might not know that are listening is that I'm left-handed. So being left-handed is a nightmare, especially for a guitar player, because you're very limited on what you could get. And anything that you do get always costs a lot more money that you're left-handed. In other words, I can't walk into, say, Guitar Center and have they might have 3 left-handed guitars over in a corner. You know, and they're not, they're all overseas, low-line models, as opposed to the 3,000 guitars they have hanging on the wall that are incredible. So it's not like that for me. But I have companies that make, I've been pretty fortunate, a couple, independent builders that have made me some incredible guitars. So yes, I played all through House of Lords. I played Gibson SGs. Because I liked them. I liked the reach I could get on the neck. But upon joining Autograph, I had to go back to using a Floyd Rose. So I had to go back to like the Kramer days, back to the 80s.
Huh.
And I needed to get a guitar with the Floyd Rose tremolo back on it. So I picked up a couple of Charvel guitars. My cousin was part of the company. And I've been using them, and I've recently had a couple builders, Robert's Guitars down in Jacksonville, Florida, and my newest company that's made me a incredible signature guitarist, PVX Guitars, out of North Carolina, and they make me they have a special model that they made for me, a design, everything. We worked hard on it. I feel bad. I put the guys through hell too. I really do. I mean, honestly, I'm very particular, like where the toggle switch has to be, where the volume control has to be. There's so many things that have to be exactly the same on all the guitars that I have, because I get used to. I go back and forth between the toggle switch a lot, so I swap between the rhythm pickup and the treble pickup constantly during my soloing. So I have to have quick access to that. It's got to be right at my fingertip where I can move it. It can't be off to the side of the guitar, or, So there's a lot of things, but I'm very blessed to have these people working with me and keeping me happy.
Well, I mean, you're on that prestigious list of Southpaws, along with Jimi Hendrix, Paul McCartney, Kurt Cobain, and so on.
And Tony Iommi.
Yes. And I want to ask you, I have a couple of minutes left. I think I have 1 minute left. You were inducted to the New England Hall of Fame?
Yeah, the New England Music Hall of Fame. Yeah, I got in it, and it's a real honor, And before that, the magazine on my about 3 years ago, I received the Lifetime Achievement Award from All That Shreds magazine, which was a real honor. That was a surprise. They did that at one of my birthday parties, and I wasn't expecting that. Usually I'm pretty aware of what's going on around my surroundings, but they really caught me off guard with that one. I had no idea.
Well, congratulations. And I know you're going to be touring soon, right?
Yeah. My dates with Autographs start next Friday. We're in Texas with Slaughter, and then Arkansas with Warrant, Vixen. And then from that, we have more and more dates. So go to autographband.com and look up tour dates, and I hope to see some people out there.
Yeah, and also JimiBell.com. We can't forget that.
Right, JimiBell.com. And
you're also on Facebook, right?
Oh, yeah, a ridiculous amount. I got a music page. I got my personal page. I usually answer everybody that messages me, too. You know, I'm one of those guys. I like my fans. I appreciate them, and I take time with them, whenever I can.
And final question, what's left in your career? What's your next goal, your next big goal? Maybe a book, maybe a book on the horizon?
Well, I've actually had people that have said they want to do an autobiography on me because they say my career is pretty fascinating. You know, a lot of the the almost famous thing, and then how things have broken, many times, broken through for me. So it's a great story. I've got a lot of other things, unfortunately, that we couldn't have covered. But next time we'll do another interview and we'll talk even more about everything.
Yes, definitely. I'd love to do that. I really appreciate your time, and we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really had a great time today.
Our pleasure. Honored to speak with, master musician. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. That was the great Jimi Bell. Again, the website, JimiBell.com. JimiBell.com. Make sure to check it out. Until next week, happy collecting to all.